This is not a trend that was started by COVID. This is a trend which has been accelerated by COVID and exacerbated by COVID. When is the next development platform going to come onto the scene that's going to unlock, a huge boon of innovation and opportunity for tech entrepreneurs? First financings are down. What are first financings? We've actually covered for the past 4 or 5 years, you've seen total volume of VC investment going into startups going up, and you've seen first financings going down. First financings are that first institutional round into a startup, right? So these are really seed Series A stage startups. How many of these first financings are happening? And what we're seeing is that trend is continuing. First financings are declining, and they have been declining for some time. In this article, first financing's share of total US VC deal value continues to shrink in 2020. First-time equity investments in startups continued a downward trajectory this year, with the capital in Q3 representing 5.5%. So this actually is actually looking at total capital going into first financings, not just the quantity. Quantity of deal financings for the past 5 years has been declining. This is saying that first financings are equivalent to 5.5% of the total US VC investment deal value, and that is down from 5.7% in Q2. And meanwhile, follow-on financings have actually been continuing to increase. So you can kind of see this chart here. This chart's looking at total volume. If we look at other stats around number of first financings, that chart is also going down. But you're also now seeing the total value of first financings also going down. This is not a trend that was started by COVID. This is a trend which has been accelerated by COVID and exacerbated by COVID. I think, the broader reason why you see first financings declining, whether in quantity or in total amount, is more so a symptom of tech monopolies. So you have, when you look at these dominant platform businesses, when you look at the iPhone and Android 10, 12 years ago when those things came out, what we've mapped out previously on the show is that those things very much so go hand in hand. For the first 5 years or so, post iPhone, iOS, Android launch, you had, drastic increase, year-over-year increase in both number of first financings and total amount of dollars going into first financings. In the second half of that decade, basically the past 5 years roughly, you've had now a decline. And I think a lot of that is attributed to when you look at the boon of innovation that comes from dominant platform businesses, particularly development platforms, right? So, they're providing that development platform infrastructure that you can then go build your app or your software-based business on top of that dev platform. iOS and Android are obviously some of the two biggest dev platforms. But you also have Salesforce is doing a dev platform. Xbox is a dev platform, right? Red Hat, that IBM bought, dev platform. There are a lot of dev platforms that are out there, more than you would think, beyond just iOS and Android. But again, iOS and Android having the lion's share of growth, or I think being one of the biggest contributors to why first financings were going up for the first 5 years or so after 2010, right? 2015 to 2020, they've been on the decline. So when is the next development platform going to come onto the scene that's going to unlock, a huge boon of innovation and opportunity for tech entrepreneurs? That'll yet to be seen. But we've covered this in the show, right? The different dev platforms that are out there that could try and be the next big wave. But these platforms are now so dominant, and you don't want to compete in certain areas because no one's going to fund you if you're trying to compete directly against these monopolies. And, there hasn't been a new just dominant dev platform come and rise to anywhere near the level of where we've seen, if you treat the internet as a dev platform, or if you treat, mobile operating systems as a dev platform. What's the next environment, right? Is it the home? Is it AR, VR? Is it the automobile? Drones? There are a lot of these that are in motion, but they just aren't there yet, I think, to really to help counteract this trend. Hi, this is Alex from Winner Take All. Thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the content. Feel free to leave a comment, ask us questions, and definitely make sure to join us on our next live stream.